It's time for another Beacon Leaders Minute.
Hi, my name is Tony DeFazio. I'm the principal of DeFazio Communications. We're a public relations agency that helps emerging growth companies gain exposure in the marketplace. I've been a Beacon member now for 3 years. I also serve on the marketing committee for Beacon. And I'm going to share with you today 3 tips on how entrepreneurs and small business owners can gain valuable exposure to grow their business. The first tip I want to share with you today has to do with building relationships. The media often is sometimes treated as the adversary or the enemy, but the reality is that business owners can gain valuable publicity by building relationships with reporters who cover their industry. And there's a couple things that you can do. Number one is know their beats. Each reporter has a specific beat. It might be small business, it might be finance, it might be consumer, it might be technology. And if you build a relationship with those reporters, you'll have an open door to tell your story. The second is, keep in mind that media relations in particular is a two-way street, meaning that you don't just call them, you also keep yourself accessible when they call you, because journalists are always looking for sources for their reporting. And if you make yourself available, then they'll make themselves available when you call to pitch your story. Number 3 is stay on the radar. Sometimes I work with business owners, they only contact the media when and if they have something to tell them. But there's always an opportunity to can maintain a continual dialogue with reporters, and you never know when a story opportunity is going to make itself apparent. Now there's a couple things you can do to get press coverage. Number 1 is the first and foremost thing you need to know is it's all about being newsworthy, as opposed to advertising and social media and your website. Media relations, specifically publicity, is all about being newsworthy. So you have to think in terms of how your products and services are newsworthy. Second is tie into current events, okay? There's always breaking news, and if you watch CNBC, Bloomberg, or you read the Wall Street Journal, you can follow the headlines and the breaking news, whether it's Amazon looking for a new office relocation, to anything really that's relevant to your industry. You can offer tips or points of view that are relevant to local reporters who are covering that story. And then there's a third item that we call the secret weapon in public relations, and that's called the question about your reporting. And it's a little trick that we use that doesn't require a press release or any formal tools to get publicity, but you're essentially asking the reporters about their reporting. What are they looking for? And you simply use that line in the subject line of your email. And oftentimes what you'll get back in your email box is, hey, I'm looking for sources on mergers and acquisitions. Do you know any? Suddenly you now have become a source for their reporting, and you have an opportunity for free publicity. And then the last point that I wanted to share with you today is, if all else fails, and well, sometimes businesses just have an awfully promotional product or service without much market differentiation, and really all they can do is advertise. Rather than fight the media, you can be the media. And what we mean by that is, with digital media, now any business owner can essentially become a media outlet of their own. And one way to do that is to create a contributorship program. Contributorship programs are basically when you become the author for other existing media outlets. So for instance, with the help of a public relations practitioner, you can broker deals with Forbes.com or the Huffington Post, and they can help ghostwrite ongoing columns bi-weekly or monthly that are contributed to these media outlets that will give you a lot of Google juice and will raise your visibility in the industry. And then once those articles publish, you can then repurpose them in your social media channels and directly in your email outreach to customers, centers of influence, and future prospects.
For more great tips, consider attending Beacon networking events like the Beacon 15th Anniversary Celebration, to be held November 2nd at the Museum of the American Revolution in historic downtown Philadelphia. You can find out more at beaconforlife.org.